everyone. I'm Harpreet Singh, welcoming you to the Future of Work Pioneers podcast. Today, we are speaking with Lisa Gevelber, who is Google's Chief Marketing Officer for the Americas region, leading marketing for search, maps, ads and commerce, Play, Pay, YouTube, and Android. Lisa founded and leads Grow for Google, which is Google's $1 billion commitment to ensure the opportunities created by technology are available to everyone. Since 2017, Grow with Google has helped over 6 million Americans grow their skills, careers, and businesses. Prior to Google, Lisa was VP and General Manager at Intuit. She holds a Bachelor of Arts with honors from University of Michigan and is an inventor on 6 patents. Lisa is a proud mom of 2 girls and lives in the Bay Area with her family. She's an avid hiker and passionate world traveler. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Let's begin with your background. Tell us about your responsibilities as the Chief Marketing Officer of Google's Americas region.
Sure. Well, my job is really to make sure that all of Google's products are easily available to customers, that they know about them and they know how to use them. So whether that's bringing new products to new countries, we have, Google Nest we brought to places like Canada. Believe it or not, we brought YouTube to new countries not that long ago. And really, some of the things I've really enjoyed the most in my job are bringing a lot of new products and growing them in places like Latin America, which has been a tremendous area of growth for the company.
You're also the founder and VP of Grow with Google. Tell us about this initiative. What inspired you to launch it?
Yeah, so in 2017, we were thinking a lot about, in addition to the good that our products do every single day and helping people accomplish what they want to get done, what were some of the other areas we really felt a huge commitment to as a company? And we decided that economic opportunity was a place that we could make a huge impact because we saw that the job markets were changing, the skills people needed to be successful already were changing. I think the World Economic Forum says that half of the people in the world will need to reskill by 2025. And 2025 is not that far from now. And we knew we had a role to play because we know that technology can be an enabler, but that we could play a disproportionate role in making sure that the opportunities created by technology were truly available to everyone. And that's why we created Grow with Google, to really ensure that individuals, but also businesses, especially small and local businesses, had the opportunities to use technology to grow, to be their best selves, to reach their economic potential. And so we've been working on this ever since 2017.
So what are the various projects and initiatives within Grow with Google that you're working on?
Yeah, maybe I'll start on the small business side. So, small businesses have always been the heart and soul of Google. We only succeed when our customers succeed, and our very first customers actually were small businesses who realized that they had the opportunity to reach even more customers outside of their immediate area if they used the power of the internet. And so ever since then, we've been helping small businesses get online and use tools. For example, you may not know this, but 2 billion times every single month, we connect small businesses in the US with customers. You can picture this as a consumer yourself on your phone. When you look for, coffee shop near me or some similar query, you'll be given buttons that you can use to get directions, to call the business directly, to in the past, before COVID, reserve a table or schedule a service. All of those things happen on Google 2 billion times every single month in the US for free. No one pays for those transactions at all. They're free to the consumer and free to the business, but the business needs to know how to set up that page. It's actually quite simple. It takes less than 10 minutes. But if we just reach out and help more businesses do that, then not only do those businesses succeed better, customers are more easily able to find what they're looking for. So a lot of our work with small businesses is helping them take those first steps to get online and be successful online. And then the second part of Grow with Google is how do we help individuals reach their economic potential? And I'm kind of hoping that's what we get to talk most of today about.
Yeah. So yeah, no, let's kind of peel that a bit further. So when we are talking about individuals, what are the programs that I know that the certifications and some of the um, uh, job placement type of programs. So let kind of delve a little deeper into that.
Yeah. So we have a whole spectrum of job training programs to help folks, maximize their potential. We start at the very beginner stage. 2/3 of even what are called middle skill jobs, which are jobs that might require a high school diploma but not a college degree. 2/3 of those middle skill jobs require some level, mid or high level actually, of digital skills. So it kind of means that everybody's got to know how to use email, how to make a presentation, how to use a spreadsheet. And we all know you aren't born knowing how to use a spreadsheet. So we're teaching people, and we're teaching people in really innovative ways. One of those is that we actually have a program that any educator can use. We have over 2 million students in middle and high schools using the program. It's called Google Applied Digital Skills. Any teacher can use it. We offer up to a full semester's long curriculum, 90 hours of instruction. And it's all, hands-on, pragmatic, project-oriented work. I sometimes call it life skills plus work skills, because we'll teach things like how do car loans work? And in the process of teaching these teenagers how car loans work, we'll teach them how to use a spreadsheet and how to think critically about making a good decision with their money. And all of those things add up. But in the end, not only do they learn how to, do good things with their money, they learn to use a spreadsheet, which is also something that'll help them hopefully succeed in their employment down the road. And that program is available and free to anyone who wants to use it. We also use it with adult job seekers, so not just middle and high school students, but we've adapted it for adults. And in that program, we'll also teach you things like how to write a resume, how to prepare for and practice for an interview. So that's our applied digital skills program. But we also have a really innovative program in our career certificates. And I think the world has never seen anything like it, because we tried to take a really holistic approach. Basically, we tried to do two things. One is create a really robust pipeline of non-traditional talent in these roles by giving them exactly the right training, and I'll talk more about that. But then the other thing we did was really help employers think differently about the people they hire and what the requirements really are that they need. So maybe let me explain. There are 80 million people in the US right now without a college degree who feel like not having that degree is a barrier to getting a good job. And our goal with the Google Career Certificates is to completely remove that barrier. And we're doing it by making sure that anyone, regardless of their educational background or experience, can get the training they need to get into various high-paying, in-demand, high-growth job fields. So we've created Google Career Certificates in 4 fields so far. They're IT support, user experience design, project management, and data analytics. And between those 4 fields, there are currently 1.3 million open jobs in the US right now. There just aren't enough people trained for it. So we're really trying to close that skills gap by allowing more people to get the training that they need to get those good jobs. And we're taking a full ecosystem approach, because not only are we giving people the training they need, we've worked extensively with employers to create the training that they want people to have. And I can talk more about that if you'd like.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about how someone gets qualified to participate in a certificate program.
Sure. The good news is anybody can do it. We put it online exactly for that reason. So we know that most folks, especially right now in the current economic climate, they're already working so hard, and they don't have a lot of time flexibility. Many folks don't even have control over their work schedules. So we wanted to make sure that our programs were truly available and accessible to everyone. So we put them online so you can do it completely at your own pace.
Mm-hmm.
Our programs typically take 3 to 6 months, depending on how many hours a week you want to spend. And they're all available on the Coursera platform. So all Google career certificates can be found on Coursera, or by coming, of course, to our website, which is grow.google/certificates.
And the once someone's completed the certificate, then how do you determine that this person can be you recommended to your hiring partners and others?
Yeah, our goal is to make people completely job ready. And the way we do that is we have assessments built in all along the way. So each of our career certificates has over 100 hours of instruction. Some of them have much more than that. And each of them has over 100 assessments built in along the way. And that's the way we kind of test for mastery, if you will. The good news is for learners, you don't have to pass the assessment on the first try. As a matter of fact, lots of people don't, right? That's part of how people naturally learn. You consume the material, you try the assessment. If you don't succeed, we point you back to the material that you missed so that you can relearn it and try again. We also have user forums built in throughout our certificates so people can turn to others for help if they're really not understanding the material. And then when someone has completed it, because these certificates are so rigorous, we know that they know their materials.
And out of these 4 programs, which ones have the most traction that you see people gravitating toward?
It's so funny that you asked that question. So we launched the IT support certificate 2 years ago now, so January of 2018. And it's been an amazing success, far surpassing even our high expectations. So we've graduated 50,000 people already in IT support. And then we just made the other 3 certificates available to the public just this past week. And they're taking off almost at equal measure, which was also a little surprising to us. We'll see how it pans out over time. Like I said, when we decide which certificates to build, we deliberately choose fields that are in demand and growing and high paying. So every one of our career fields on average has an entry level median income of $69,000 or more per year, right? So we've deliberately chosen fields that are going to keep growing. So when people enter them, they know they can have a real career and a family sustaining wage.
So one of the key ingredients for making a certificate program successful is having industry recognition. So those in our audience who are trying to build certification programs, what are the considerations that go into building a successful program so that it'll be accepted by the industry?
Yeah, it's such an important point and something we spent a lot of energy on. We really care that these career certificates make people, as I said, job ready in fields where there are lots of good jobs. But what we really did was we started with each job and worked backward. So we would take the job, and all of these certificates, all the Google career certificates, are taught by Google employees who have decades of years of experience in the field. And they work from the job backwards. They figure out what skills, what knowledge you need to have to do the job. But then we go one step further and we vet that content with employers. So for example, we work closely with Deloitte on our data analytics certificate, and they gave us even some exercises that they use in their own company to train their people and test their own people's knowledge. We use that to integrate into our program. We also share all of the curriculum and syllabus with employers who are interested in joining our employer consortium. And we now have over 130 employers in that consortium who have recognized the Google Career Certificates as valid industry credentials and as graduates that they want to hire. So they're involved throughout. They give feedback as we're building the curriculum. They actually all review and understand what we're teaching. And of course, the fact that Google not only created the curriculum, but that we're hiring graduates is also, I think, a sign of robustness in terms of what we're teaching. As a matter of fact, the same things that we teach in the Google Career Certificates are what we use to train our very own at Google IT support professionals and data analytics professionals.
And are you finding that there are other fields that you want to branch out into that have similar demand?
I think we will keep looking for things that meet the criteria that I stated. So in demand, high growth, high paying fields for which Google is the right teacher and which can be credibly taught, fully online.
This episode is brought to you by Experfy. Incubated in Harvard Innovation Lab, Experfy provides custom future of work solutions, such as private talent clouds and skill taxonomies. Experfy differentiates itself by using subject matter experts to pre-vet and pipeline candidates for AI and high-end technology skills. However, Experfy Talent Cloud Platform is skill agnostic and can be licensed to build custom talent clouds for any and all skills. In a different use case, enterprises interested in employee intermobility can license the Experfy platform to create an internal gigs marketplace where interested employees can be algorithmically matched to projects, gamifying their learning experience. Visit www.experfy.com for more information.
So it's admirable that you decided to focus on non-traditional learners, people who don't have a college degree. So this demographic, is often working one or two jobs. They have other challenges that they're facing. So how do you overcome those challenges, and how do you support these learners given the context they're in?
Sure. Well, we really care about making sure that the program works exactly for working Americans. And so that's why we've made it, like I said, fully online, always doable on your own schedule. But there's some folks who want a more structured approach, and we offer that as well. So we're working with the American Association of Community Colleges, and we work directly with over 100 community colleges. So for folks who want kind of an instructor-led or cohort-based environment, that's available as well. And we work with amazing nonprofits all over the country, people like Merit America, Per Scholas, Goodwill, the USO. And those folks also create cohort-based learning environments for folks who want the extra support and just feeling of community. Mm-hmm. So we have lots of options of ways that different people can learn.
And I also noticed there's a program that is specifically focused on veterans and military families. Can you talk about what that is?
Yeah, so Grow with Google has always really cared about transitioning military personnel. There's 250,000 people who transition out of our military services every single year. And we want to make sure that they can transition easily and get good jobs. So in 2018, we actually launched some really innovative things, one of which was a special feature in Google search where you can just type in the search box jobs for veterans. And when you do that, it pops up a second search box that asks you to enter your military occupation specialty code. And when you do that, then it'll show you specifically jobs that are available right now in your area that use the same or similar skills to the ones you learned in your particular job in the military. And what this does is it really helps people translate the things they already know how to do, the things they've learned in the military, all the good skills they've gotten into civilian jobs, and more easily connect the dots on what they can be. And really it helps people expand what they understand the options to be, because it's showing them real jobs in their area that are open right now that use similar skills. And that's been a super popular feature and one we're really proud of. But we've also done a bunch of work with folks like Hiring Our Heroes. And last year we did a big comprehensive quantitative study with them of military spouse careers and career roadmaps, and created a military spouse career roadmap tool that people can use as they think about what they want to do next, and has lots of interesting resources and analysis in there that helps folks make good choices.
So when we think of MOOCs like Coursera, and you mentioned your partnership with Coursera, one of the challenges that the students face are completion rates, that most students aren't able to complete them. I would say more than 90% of students drop out before they complete a course. So have you seen similar challenges when it comes to your certification programs?
We actually have seen really high completion rates, multiple times a MOOC average. And some of the cohort-based programs like that I was talking about, some of the nonprofits we work with, like Merit America, they have graduation rates on our career certificates of over 80%. And those are all working folks who have lots of other things going on in their lives, and they're still graduating at over 80%. We've also worked really hard to understand what trips people up along the way. We can't obviously help with everything in their lives, but we can make our program as easy as possible to learn and master. So we brought behavioral scientists to the table, and we figured out where people were kind of falling off and dropping out. And then we've worked hard to really neutralize some of those issue points. And like I said, also to encourage folks, even if you didn't pass an assessment the first time, lots of people don't pass it the first time they try it. We try to remind them of that and encourage them to keep trying, and also point them right back to the material that they might have missed that they could use a little more studying on. So we're really trying to make along the way, reduce the points at which people would drop off, and then provide these alternate options, whether it's instructor-led through community college or like with a nonprofit with wraparound support, who have incredibly high graduation rates of our program. And then the other thing we're doing, which we're really excited about, is partnering, we just announced, with Guild Education. And they're a firm that works with a bunch of Fortune 1000 companies to really upskill the frontline workers. So they work with people like Walmart and Chipotle and Disney and Discover. And we're really excited to work with them, because I think a lot of folks working in those companies would prefer a career certificate over a longer degree program. And I think this is really going to open up lots of new opportunities for those folks, which are getting the benefit of their employer sponsoring these types of programs through Guild.
Mm-hmm. And what is the motivation of Walmart to sponsor their employees?
Walmart is an amazingly great citizen on this front. They really care about the future of their workers, and they've done a lot of things. They have a program called Live Better You, which this Guild program is a part of, which is just one of their many initiatives to help their employees upskill.
Oh, that's great. So you mentioned the search feature for veterans, so they can find the appropriate jobs. So what happens behind the scenes? How do you match the military job codes to the current opportunities?
Well, the good news is the military knows exactly what they want you to know and what they want to teach you for every job they have. So they've already done the hard work of listing for each profession what skills you need to have. And then we just map that to the skills that we know these other professions have. It's basically an information problem, and we tend to be good at those. And so it's really a way we thought we could help a lot of people make a much smoother transition and end up in much better jobs. We announced last week, though, another very important feature in search, which is the ability to easily find jobs that don't require a degree. And jobs, we also launched a feature that will easily help you identify jobs that do not require experience. So we saw huge spikes in the last year of people looking for jobs that don't require a college degree or don't require previous experience. Specifically, finding a job with no experience, the search queries spiked 750% over the past year. And queries like great jobs without a degree spiked 850% over the past year. So clearly there's a need out there. So this past week, we announced new features in Google search where if you type queries like that, anything that shows us that you are looking for a job without a college degree, we will show you a carousel of the highest paying career fields that don't require degrees. We'll even show you whether those fields are growing or not, so you know if you want to go into them. And then actual jobs in your area that don't require a degree. Similarly, with no experience, you can now filter for the amount of experience required and for the educational background required for jobs, all right within Google search.
And what do you think caused this spike in the recent times?
Well, the pandemic has really hit folks hard. There are 10 million Americans unemployed right now as we speak. And I think folks without college degrees, we know, are among the hardest hit from the pandemic and are likely to suffer the longest.
Yeah, makes
So we
sense.
wanted to make sure we could really help those folks.
Mm-hmm. So, given the success of Grow with Google, any words of advice for CHROs that are thinking about upskilling or reskilling their workforce?
Yeah, so I think it's a really interesting time to be a CHRO or a head of talent acquisition right now. When we started this program, we actually sat down with a few heads of talent acquisition, for example, and we asked them how they viewed things like degree requirements. It was super interesting what they told us. Oftentimes what they said is, we don't actually require degrees, and we'll write on our job description, college degree or equivalent. But what they identified was that they had no good way to know what equivalent was. There was no standard for equivalent. And so what ended up happening in a lot of companies, and I imagine a lot of your listeners can relate to this, is they just hired degree holders because it was simpler. But we all know that degrees are not the perfect proxy for finding the right person for the job or the person who has the most knowledge for the job. Take me as an example. As you said, I have a degree in psychology from the University of Michigan. I am certainly not qualified to be a data analyst or an IT support professional. My degree is in no way qualifying me for those types of roles, right? And so how would a hiring professional or a talent acquisition person know if someone has the skills they need? They needed some kind of industry recognized credential. And I think one of the most important problems we're solving is actually for companies, for HR folks and talent acquisition folks, because we're defining equivalent. So now when they say, you need a good degree or equivalent, the Google Career Certificates are a perfectly viable equivalent, and they can use that as a proxy. They know that the people who are taking these certificates have the know-how to do the job. So that's one thing I would say for CHROs. The other is, I would say, the great thing about things like certificates is that they're super concentrated ways to teach people the essential job ready skills. So our certificates, about half of the people finish in 3 months. 3/4 of the people have finished by 6 months. Imagine making a 6-month part-time investment in your employees and qualifying them for a completely different level of job, right? Many of these folks are going from relatively low wage, low skill work to high skill, in demand, high growth, high paying jobs in 3 to 6 months. That's never really been possible before. There's never been an industry recognized credential where you could invest in your employee and they could take part-time learning for 3 to 6 months and get into a completely different type of job. Just hasn't really been possible before. And I think that's why so many employers are gravitating to this program. We've been so excited to see the incredible demand from employers for graduates of our certificate programs. We have 130 members of our employer consortium, and we're especially excited that this year, certain employers have stepped up and decided to make actual hiring commitments. So Better.com has agreed to hire thousands of the Google Career Certificate grads. Infosys has agreed to hire hundreds of the Google Certificate graduates. And we hope this will inspire lots more employers to take part.
How do you track the metrics of these programs to ensure the long-term success?
Yeah, there's a bunch of metrics that we look at. First and foremost, we want people to get better lives, better economic futures. So the most important metric that we track is we ask people about, what their outcomes were. And what we found is that 82% of our graduates tell us that within 6 months of graduating from the program, they got some sort of better economic outcome. So that includes they either got a better job, they got a promotion within the company they're working at, they got a raise, something along those lines. 82% of them say that they ended up with a better economic outcome within 6 months. Since the program was designed to create a more inclusive and equitable economy, a place where everyone can succeed, the other important metrics we track are to see what backgrounds are graduates coming from. And we're seeing that our graduates are definitely coming from non-traditional places. So 53% of our graduates are not from traditional backgrounds in tech. So minorities, female, veteran, refugee. And 45% of our graduates actually start out in the program coming from the lowest income tertile in the country. But all of those folks are graduating into these job fields. Like I said, there's 1.3 million open jobs in these 4 fields right now in the US. And the average entry level income is more than $69,000 a year. So we're seeing tremendous outcomes for non-traditional folks coming from oftentimes low wage work, getting into these high paying, high growth, in demand right now fields. And that's been really rewarding and important to us, seeing the success of that in a mostly fully online program.
Any parting words for our audience?
I think at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make sure we're creating an economy that truly works for everyone. And to create an inclusive and equitable economy, it really is going to take the whole ecosystem. It's going to take, teachers. It's going to take these nonprofit supports I talked about, the community college system. But employers also have a really, really important role to play here. And I think thinking differently about how they access non-traditional talent into their pipelines is one of the most important things they can do. And I hope and I think our career certificates can be a huge help to that.
Lisa, it's been a real pleasure. You're doing incredible work.
Thank you so much. Thanks for letting us join you today.